Boys, today we are diving into the 5 best race cars in Forza Horizon 5. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean top speed, but the cars that I have found to handle the best and perform the best in racing throughout my time playing Forza Horizon 5. So kicking things off, I'm gonna also show you guys how much each car is. And first up is the car you just saw me driving, the Nissan R390. And it's around 1 million credits. Obviously, you saw you can get under 1 million credits. And this is a car that until very recently, I had never driven. I was actually doing a drag race challenge with Gusius, and I was only allowed to use Nissans. And believe it or not, this is the only Nissan in the game that you can actually turn into an X-Class. But then I was using it again to record in a video for some background racing, and I realized how well it hugs the ground, which obviously it is a race car, just look at it. And although this isn't our #1 best car on the list today, I think it's my #1 favorite race car in the game. Like, it's just incredibly fun. But let's move on to the second car. Like, look at that. It's just hugging the road. Okay, well, proved it wrong. Now, next up is the Mercedes AMG 1. And although I am showing you that it's $3 million on the auction house, there's a very high probability you already have this car. Now, if you don't remember, long ago when you originally started the game, this is actually the first super or hypercar, I suppose, that you end up driving. And although it's not breaking any speed records, I also don't have it tuned at the moment. Its handling is perfect. And I know that lots of the race cars in this game just tend to handle very similarly to each other, but you'll understand what I mean when you give this car a try. Because for me, for example, when I got this car given to me by the game, I never used it. It looks really cool, but I'm a drift guy and drag racing, so I never really gave the race cars a try. But you'll see, this is just an absolute blast of a car to drive, and as long as it's not a 90-degree turn, you can take it going pretty much your top speed. But anyways, let's move on to the next car here. And the next car is incredibly cheap. It's the Vulcan AMR Pro, and again, with this car, you probably already have it. Now, I will say, with this car, your tune matters a lot more than with the previous cars, because you can get some pretty bad tunes, and I actually even have one on, that give the car so much rear horsepower that when you pin your throttle, your tires spin, which is something you really don't want in a race car. However, if you're able to dial it in, I did a video recently where I also raced this car in the background, and it's the first time I've ever felt like, wow, I'm actually driving well, and it kind of looks like I know what I'm doing. And how can you just not love the look of this car? Like, in all fairness, this might be top 3 best looking cars in the game. But let me know, maybe some of you guys have never even tried this car before and I'm completely blowing your mind, because I promise you, at least 70% of the people watching this video have this car and don't even know about it. I'm not sure what event it was that got into people's garage, or whether it's just one of those cars that Forza gives you when you start the game, but either way, I would be willing to bet most of you have your hands on this car. And come on, we just did an entire drift zone without getting a single point, with a bad tune. Now we're on to the 2 best cars in the game, uncontested, and we're starting with the McLaren Senna. Again, it's around 2 million credits, but I would be shocked if you didn't already have this car in your garage. Now, I know, it's not like Horizon 4. In Horizon 4, everyone got this car for free. But this is the best race car I've ever, well, I guess technically second best race car I've ever driven, because you just can't top our #1. But you, like, look at it, just turns at any angle, almost any speed. It's like it defies physics, and it goes incredibly fast. I actually have a video on my channel of Gusius, Stylix, and I doing a hide and seek, and instead of hiding, I decided I was just gonna run away, and I really put this car to the test. And the city does not have a lot of wide sweeping angles. It's pretty sharp corners, and they just weren't able to catch me while I was using this car. I actually ended up winning that event, which, if you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, I don't win those very often. But this car, it's like it's just glued to the road, and there's no world it's letting off. Now, obviously, you gotta be a little realistic. There are some corners it's just not gonna be able to take. But when you guys find one of those, let me know, because I have yet to. Let's move on. And finally, we have our most expensive car on the list, but it's a worthwhile investment. You need it for many other things in the game. It's the best car in the game. Like, actually the best car in the game. If someone asks you what's the best car in Forza Horizon 5, it's this. This is the best one. Sesto ELO Forza Edition. It is 7 to 9 million credits, so it will set you back. But it's really not the worst, because not only does it take every corner pretty much perfectly, as perfect as the McLaren Senna. Like, look at how snappy this turning is on it. It's insane. But you'll notice we're going 250 miles per hour right now. It happens to also be absurdly quick, and it's still able to corner while going those speeds. Like, look at, I was able to oversteer on that corner because it had so much grip. That's going to be your problem with it. You're going to have to learn how to drive this car because you're going to have to think, oh, I'm going to need to turn really sharp right here because this looks like a sharp corner. And you're just going to turn right off the road because this car is completely gripped to the floor. Like, you'll see how snappy it's just turning with me right here. So you're just going to have to learn how to drive this car, and when you do, you're never going to go back to any other car. It's actually insane that this is a balanced race car in this game. You can, it doesn't budge. It stays on the ground. I don't understand what they put under this hood, but this car is an absolute blast to drive. But anyways, boys, that is our list for today. If you enjoyed it, let me know with a subscribe or a like down below. And if there's some hidden race cars I didn't have on today's list, 500 likes, we'll do a part 2. Comment those cars down below. As always, we'll see you boys in the next one. I'm out. A peace. That's insane.